Here we are with my greatest thoughts happening after the game and what the game concluded to be. It was downhill in a hurry so fast that, to be honest, I would have probably stopped watching even if Tua would have not gotten messed up. I don't even know where to really start first. I was like, I don't know whether I should start and talk with the Tua concussion part of it, or talk and start, start and talk about the game itself. Um, as of right now, that game, I was like, listen, we're just gonna put on, you know what? We're just gonna go to basketball season. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, no, that was a disaster. I guess I'll talk about the game first, and then we could go whatever. It doesn't matter. Listen, I try to be optimistic going in. I was like, I'm gonna go with my team to win, even though I did have in down deep in my heart, back of my brain, everything sort of was telling me it ain't gonna happen, my boy. And guess what? Sometimes you just gotta listen to that inner voice, that conscience. I was like, those instincts, even if they may feel like bubble guts, cause that's what it ended up being. Cause it was just some straight up poo poo doo doo water. Look, game bad all the way around. The only optimistic thing I can say about this is that hey, we was able to run the ball. And to be honest, I sort of thought that we could run the ball just because I know they got a good up front with Oliver and Miller and Espinosa and all them, but I was like, okay, I still think that we could run the ball. And hey, we was, and granted, that's because when you got those two demons on the outside, something's got to give. They were playing too high all day to the point where everybody and their mama knew it. But a lot of times that lends to the fact that you can run the ball. Problem is that I also felt like it was really weird from every standpoint. Coaching, quarterback play, defense, everything. I was like, from the coaching, I was like, it was one of them things where it's like how last year sort of ended after, like, where we was up ahead, and then it seemed like, oh, we would lose the games here and there until basically we lost the division. It's one of them things that's like, I remember people talking about it, and I was sort of thinking about it. I was like, no. Where it's like, have McDaniels been figured out? Like, I was like, because everybody sort of runs Shanahan's type systems and stuff like that all throughout the league. So by now, at some point, it's going to be caught up to, except for maybe the master himself, Kyle. Kyle also has a plethora of weapons, which, we sort of tried to do. I was like, I like Jonnu Smith. I always thought he sort of got bad raps in other spots that he'd been at with the Patriots. I was like, I didn't think they used him right with Atlanta. We seen how that was last year. That I was like, hey, in here, I was like, I thought it was sort of good to sort of use him. I was like, I don't think they used him enough, considering that seemed like the one advantage they did have, just because they were going to just be like, hey, we're going to pretty much double team your two wide receivers and everybody else try to kill us. They did try to use everybody else with I forgot his name, Diabo or whatever. I'm not gonna act like I really know that dude's name. And Chosen, former Robert Anderson, and they was talking about it. I think it was Herb Street talking about the game, and they was talking about, and he was placing the blame on the receivers and saying it was miscommunication. I was like, that was on Tua. The overall on Tua, like that, the touchdown, that was on Tua. Just because I was like, yes, better communication would have helped, but I was like, he threw it to the receiver, and it was like the receiver didn't even turn his head around. He wasn't ready for the ball. It's his fault. And yes, okay, maybe but I was like, Tua threw it early, which is like you are supposed to do on that route, because I was like, you're supposed to basically have it thrown by the time that dude's about to cross that defender's face. And yes, you could say the receiver didn't get his head across. The only problem is that that when you look at it, he threw it here on the receiver. So even if he would have turned around and seen the ball earlier, what he's going to do? Stop and just catch the ball like this? That he probably would have. It would probably been incompletion anyway because the DB would have noticed and just like tackled him. So already it was bad ball placement, even though he did the right thing of throwing it early, but it was still behind him. The one with Robbie Anderson was supposed to stay in the spot of the zone, and it got thrown over him. That wasn't Chosen's whole. That wasn't on him. I was like, he overthrew him. If anything, he should have threw it lower. There was a gap. There was a big enough gap where it should have happened. The other interception, I was like, yes, that one's on Tua. And that one really has more about the fact that he just don't have the arms in order to launch that thing. Yes, but he was also pressured. So it was all sort of in hand. That was like, by then also, game kind of wrapped. I was like, so it's like, yeah, if he had a strong arm, he would have threw it out of bounds. But the fact that like he basically just got pressured all the way up in his face. The line didn't. I was like at time, but no, I was like, but there was that time. I was like, it was a time. It was the best time. What time? Most times it's the worst of the time because I was like they was pressuring him all up in his face and stuff like that. Yeah, I was like I will say another bright spot, not just the running with Achane, but also right. I was like I do like that he's sort of a bigger back that I sort of been waiting for him to sort of get. I do think I was like, did they miss Mostert? Yeah, but I was like I don't know what would have helped because I was like when we was running the ball and I was like I think it would have helped because we would have had a good rotation of backs to use to give him a good change up because Mostert, while is fast, I was like, and even though Achane was running through the middle and stuff like that, he is a bigger guy than Achane is at the same time. But I was like, I feel like with those three backs, we could have run the ball. Thing is, would you have been committed to running the ball? Because it seemed like we were running the ball, but we were really just waiting to throw it. And when we couldn't do anything about that, we were just kind of like, I felt like to me there wasn't enough screens. I was like the motions didn't do anything to really cause any different types of matchups or anything like that. We didn't take any type of thing like that. I don't think outside of Janu that we didn't really go underneath because we just really want to get back in the game. We really want to hit them bombs. And so I was like Mike McDaniel's play calling at me was sometimes weird. I was like, and then sometimes he would run the ball at where it's like where I'm just like, okay. I was like, with most teams, I would say, 3-1, let's run the ball or whatever like that. But I'm like, that's the time where I'm kind of like, yo, why don't we do some quick game? Why don't we just like hurry up and throw the ball out and stuff like that? I was like, we was doing good at the check down, so I was like, Then the defense. I sort of said it last week. And he sort of does this in places all the time with Ramsey. But I was like, when he gets his contract, it seems like people go at his ass when he first gets him contract. Like, yeah, he might play better on in the season or whatever like that. But when he first sort of gets his money, it sort of seems like people attack his ass in order to be like, that. But I was like, but they're not afraid of him. I think that we didn't really pressure Allen. I was like, Cook killed us the whole time, and I knew that he would have a game. I just didn't think it'd be like that because I was like, you can run the ball on us too. I was like, Travis Etienne and the Jaguars showed us that. I was like, we were light up front. I was like, listen. I was like, this was a game that I think you missed Christian Wilkins. I think that I was like, of course, we don't have no Bradley Chubb. I was like, this is where I also think that, Van Ginkel's on the Vikings. I was like, it's not like they were passing the game where it's like, I could say we missed Xavier Howard or nothing like that. They wasn't really passing the ball like that. But I was like, but if you're going to come at those receivers, then it sort of is also like, and no, we can't miss something that you ain't never had, but do you need somebody like Odell Beckham? That's where it felt like it would have been something like him in the third receiver spot to sort of break up some of that, where it's like you got these two game changers down there, so you got somebody else that's like, he's not what he used to be, but he's still somebody that warrants basically coverage. He's still a guy like he ain't gonna burn you anymore and just take a slant to the house anymore. But I'm just like he's more sure-handed. He's more of a guy that's like a route running type of guy compared to the other two. Whereas like they chosen to do that like that deep dig route, but it's like he's really a vertical dude. You really do him on a lot of passing routes, or you get the ball to him early and just let him go. I was like, it was just things like that, and I was like, it just got away so fast that it just seemed like there was really nothing, no hope. There was nothing here, and I was like, look, it's not panic for the season, because I was like, we still got like what I thought of that might happen. I was like, even if we sort of got down, I was like, we got players that was like, hey, we just get a play or two, we end the game. We wasn't. So that was really disappointing, but at the same time, we could be 0-2. Because to be honest, this is sort of also what Jacksonville sort of did with us as well too. They it wasn't like I said, Jacksonville didn't go crazy passing the ball. They was really running the ball and then had opportune time throwing the ball. That's really what it was with Allen. Allen wasn't over here chucking the ball going crazy, but breaking the seam. He didn't run and nothing like that, but the threat was just there, and it would just broke down the defense, and there would be people open. I was like, they got shifted. I was like, Shakir was over here doing what he does from the slot. I was like, to be honest, I'm not gonna take off this shirt. I'm not. That's a little too much. We're not there yet. We're not there. We're at the point of me throwing my hat. Not enough for me throwing the shirt. Might happen. Don't get me wrong. We keep getting more bullshit like this. It might happen. But I was like, we might. I was like, maybe we missed Vic Fangio and his defensive scheme. Cause I was like, guess what? He would also blitz the shit out of Buffalo and Josh Allen. And I was like, I think that's also why we was able to get in one of them games. I was like, I think we just had we had more depth in order to do some of the things that we did last year. Now, going to the bigger story that's going to really come out of this is Tua. I was like, concussion, once again, fourth one. I was like, and when he get concussions, boy, you know it, because his body stiffens and tightens up, like he just instant man or something like that. And it happened on just like a little. It was just sort of a bang bang play. It wasn't even like he going for the first down. It wasn't even something like crushing. And it was right after he pretty much. And the thing is crazy is that he basically had a touchdown and he sort of overshot the guy when he had it. He had him open. Don't get me wrong. I do think that the tight end, if he would have kept running a little bit more, he could have actually catch it. I was like, sometimes it gets me when people jump so early, when it's like, if you would have just ran two more, you didn't have, you could have probably got it. But either way, whether it was the receiver, tight end, or the quarterback, either way, what that led to is Tua being concussed. Don't know we're not going to speculate on what that is, but I was like, I feel like he going trying to play. They got a week and some change, so I think he'll actually make it. Just because I was like, if it was like Sunday to Sunday, maybe not. But with them extra couple days, he might be able to. They cut Mike White, got Skylar Thompson, who's been there for a while, and I was like, and which I think that you call a different game when you got a different quarterback there. So I'm not gonna say like, oh no, it's gonna be horrible, but I was just like, I don't know what, but we can't afford to lose. I know the talk is going to be like, hey, should Tua retire? He's not going to retire. He just got his bag. He's not going to retire. He's going to keep playing. I was like, I'm not here to really say should he or not, just because I was like, I understand the overall amount of time that you want, thinking about the future, not just with the money, but the future in itself is always a thing to keep in mind. But at the same time, it is something. This is not like the thing when I was like, I will talk about necessarily with Tua of like the reason why I was like, I sort of always like, I like Tua, but these quarterbacks here I would have preferred something like that. This is not one of those things. I was like, this is just sort of just some crap that he's going to have to deal with, and it just happens, and it's just like I don't know what to do from there. But yeah, if he can't go, I was like, I don't know what that means for the season, because I was like, you got to be careful with him with concussion. You can't just have him bring him out like you could with any other quarterback. He's been, and not that he's had so many especially as a quarterback, but the fact that he's so synonymous with it. He's connected to concussions. He's the reason on that the big game like 2 years ago that changed the whole rules and had to be looked at and investigated. And I'm like, that's somebody where like just like how like on the flip side with Buffalo, every time DeMar Hamlin does something, they got the camera on him, and listen, I was like, no, I was like, it like for that what happened to him, I was like, it just come with the territory now, but it's just like, damn, I don't need to see him every time just because he did something or whatever. I was like, yeah, I was like, when I'm talking about he's not actually connected to the play kind of thing, not when he does stuff. But I was like, that's just what and that's what he's connected to. Two is the same thing, so it's just gonna be on watch heavy. I was like, I was like, luckily it was like if it was Monday, it'd be like it'd probably be talked about the whole week. But since it was just since it's today and they're gonna go to Friday, they probably won't have to address it until like Tuesday, to be honest. So at least for that, I was like, it'll be somewhat out, where it's like it ain't gotta be heard about constantly, but it is something that's gonna be thought about, and I'm just like, I don't know what you do. Do you go pick up another quarterback? Do you still? I mean, you want to pick up another quarterback, but do you go back and get like Mike White? I was like, do you snatch up? Do you bring Tannehill back? I was like, probably not. That might be too much for we don't know how long it is that he's going to be here. Yeah, no, it's a question. I was like, it basically is the shit on the doo-doo sandwich of how this whole night was, where it's just like, yeah, after two guys, I would like to be on. Like I said, if they wasn't scored, I wasn't gonna watch anymore. But since two got cut, I'm not watching anymore. I didn't watch anymore. I was like, I don't care. Whatever positive thing came out of the fourth quarter, I don't care. It is what it is. But yeah. Anyway, thank for listening. If you do, yeah. Anyway, peace. Until more updates and news.